All right, so get this. You send over this YouTube video about Navratri, right? And I gotta say, I'm already seeing the whole thing in a whole new light.
Oh, yeah? What's got you hooked?
Well, we're diving into Navratri, sure, but it's not just about the festivities, the food, the dancing, all that. This video goes deep, connecting each of the 9 nights with the 9 forms of Durga.
Okay, yeah, the 9 forms of Durga, that's pretty standard Navratri stuff. What's the new light?
It connects each of the 9 forms of Durga to the 9 planets in astrology.
Wow, okay, I see what you mean about a new light. That's a fascinating perspective to explore. For those who may not be familiar, this video is suggesting each night of Navratri is dedicated to a different form of Durga, and each form governs one of the 9 planets in astrology, which is a pretty interesting concept when you think about it.
Right, like we're talking about some kind of cosmic roadmap to self-improvement here, potentially. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I gotta ask, what's the big deal with the number 9 anyway?
The number 9, oh, it pops up all over the place, especially in Hinduism and astrology. It's seen as this really powerful number signifying wholeness, completion, kind of like this ultimate sense of fulfillment.
Okay, so how does that tie into everything else?
Well, think about it. You've got 9 planets in Vedic astrology, at least from our perspective here on Earth, 9 months of pregnancy before birth, 9 nights of Navratri. It's this recurring theme, you know. It suggests a journey towards a culmination of some kind, this potent transformation.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see the connections here, but then the video goes a step further with this whole cosmic roadmap idea. It starts talking about how a weak moon, or as they say in the video, Chandra, can manifest in our lives.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Like, say someone's super emotional all the time, or maybe they just can't seem to make a decision. The video suggests these could be signs of a weak moon.
Ah, I see where they're going with this. So in astrology, the moon is deeply tied to our emotions, to our intuition, our inner world, which, when you think about it, kind of makes sense, right? The moon controls the tides, and us humans, we're basically big bags of water.
Right, so a weak moon. We're not talking about the actual moon having a bad day up there, are we?
Exactly. We're talking about an imbalance. It's more like those lunar qualities, the emotional sensitivity, the intuition. They might not be expressing themselves in a balanced way in your life.
Gotcha. So it's less about fixing and more about finding balance. But how do we do that?
Well, that's where Navratri comes in. The video suggests that by worshiping specific forms of Durga during Navratri, you can actually bring those energies back into balance.
It's like hitting the reset button on our inner cosmos. I bet our listeners are dying to know how.
Well, the key here is that it's not just about going through the motions of a ritual. It's deeper than that. The idea is that by connecting with a particular form of Durga, you're actually tuning into those qualities within yourself. So going back to the weak moon example, we're talking about cultivating inner stability, emotional intelligence, really becoming more grounded.
So it's kind of like using Navratri as this amazing framework for self-reflection and personal growth, almost like a yearly spiritual tune-up.
I love that. That's a fantastic way to put it.
So the video really zeroes in on day 1 of Navratri, which is all about worshiping Shailaputri, the daughter of the mountains, to bring that moon back into balance. What's the significance there?
So Shailaputri, she's usually depicted riding a bull. In Hindu mythology, the bull is often seen as a symbol of the mind and it being controlled by the goddess or the divine. Shailaputri, she represents strength, stability, that unshakable, grounded energy. Basically all the things we associate with a strong sense of self.
And I remember the video even suggested specific offerings like jasmine flowers and chanting mantras.
Right, each day has traditional offerings and practices.
It's amazing how these specific rituals can connect to this bigger cosmic picture. But I'm curious, what about the other 8 nights and the other forms of Durga?
Each day of Navratri is like opening a door to a different facet of the divine feminine and connecting with it. Each form of Durga is associated with a planet and its corresponding qualities. Take, for instance, the 3rd day of Navratri. We have Chandraganta, who embodies courage and grace under pressure qualities connected to the planet Mars. Or on the 6th day, we have Katyani, associated with Jupiter, who embodies wisdom, abundance, problem solving, you see. Each day is like this fresh opportunity to tap into a different aspect of ourselves.
Wow, so we're not just talking about fixing weaknesses, but about connecting to this incredible, vast well of potential within us.
Exactly. And that actually brings us to something I think is worth thinking about. You know, the video really focuses on remedying those weaknesses, right? But what if we took it a step further?
What do you mean?
Well, could we apply this same concept to enhance planetary influences that are already strong within us? Could we use this knowledge not just to overcome challenges, but to really strive for even greater levels of personal growth and self-understanding?
That is a really fascinating question, something to reflect on for sure. And with that thought, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.